It's showtime, folks. Welcome in Chase and Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game here on this Wednesday. Hope you're having a great start to your day. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier, of course, is on the ones and twos as always. JoJo, what's shaking? Looking nice today.
Thank you. It's also hump day. So make sure you get that out of the way real quick.
I think that's trademarked, isn't it?
I think it is, but if they're not listening, they don't know that it's being stolen. So I think he's on TV right now, and the last thing on his mind is two yokels stealing his Wednesday catchphrase. I don't think he cares.
Listening. That is the theme of the day.
But wouldn't it be something though if you did listen and it got out that Leland Statham beat you up for stealing his hump day? It'd be the greatest beat.
Well, let's just be honest. He'd beat you up.
Right.
You'd be the one he's coming after.
Yeah, that's right. So. But hey, it's a badge of honor. What happened to you? Leland Statham kicked my ass. So other than that, why? Long story.
I stole his hump day.
Oh, now you're done.
Yeah, we're both done. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. The Stanley Cup final is done. The Florida Panthers are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. And look, that's a wagon, as the kids say. I mean, that is just a really talented hockey team. And there are probably 28 teams that aren't even close to that, 29 teams that aren't even close to that right now. And then the ones that are obviously far off, because Edmonton's a good team too, and Florida just took care of them in 6 games. So congratulations to the Panthers, and we'll see if they can keep all those guys and go for a three-peat.
Good for them. Winning one's great. Winning two, man, that's a feat. And so good for the Panthers. And I think, the three-peat, we talk about in football, it's never happened in the modern day era. It's never happened. And then with when's that baseball? Was it the Yankees? 98?
I think the Yankees are the last to do that.
99 and 2000 did it.
Yeah.
And then NBA, I know the Bulls did it 96 to 98. Somebody might have done it after that. Lakers did it, right? Maybe?
Lakers have done it twice.
Okay. Yeah. I think and then I remember Pat Riley.
Bulls have done it twice.
Pat Riley trademarked three-peat back in the mid-'80s for the Lakers and did all that. So every time you say three-peat, I guess he gets money.
Dr. Crane, did Kobe have 2 three-peats?
I'll have to double check on that.
Or was it one and then he won back-to-back? I can't remember.
It might have been 1 three-peat and then back-to-back. That sounds a little bit more accurate to me.
Well, we know the Bulls did. But my question to you is, and our friend Ricky asked me this last night, my answer is no, but and we'll get to your countdown in a second, but are they a dynasty? I mean, they've gone to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. They've won 2 of them. No. I'm going to say no. I think you got to win 3 championships to be a dynasty, but pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's why, the Buffalo Bills are not a dynasty. The Minnesota Vikings were not a dynasty. You got to win. I mean, you got to win those games. And so, but Bills never did it. So if Florida would have won it in 23? Yeah, they're a dynasty, but 2, you're just really good. You win next year, yeah, you're a dynasty.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, go ahead.
All right, here it is. Dr. Crane? Yeah, we are today officially 66 days out. 66 days out from the start of the college football season. Praise the Lord. 66 days out. So we've been doing this countdown. Who is your all-time favorite number 66? Let us know. 615-737-1025. Call or text. Let us know. Chaser, who's your number? Who's your favorite 66?
I'll go Mario Lemieux.
Oh, he's 60. Was he not 68 too?
No, that was Yager.
Yager, okay. 66. Dr.
Super
Crane,
Mario.
You got a famous one you want to get out?
No, all these high 60 numbers, they're not good for me.
Wasn't Alan Faneca number 66?
I don't remember right now. Was he? Or 68 maybe?
Rick Ankiel wore it in baseball.
Okay, yeah. Oh, Rick Ankiel, boy, he was a troubled young man. My favorite is the nastiest, dirtiest lineman of all time that ever played the football, Conrad Dobler, number 66, played for the Cardinals. You talk about mean. These guys today have no idea what mean is until you watch Conrad Dobler. And that's what the Titans, if the Titans had 4 Conrad Doblers on the offensive line out of 5, they'd be any team. If you don't know who Conrad Dobler is, look him up. Probably the nastiest, meanest football player of all time. Number 66.
Okay.
Passed away 2 years ago. Oh man. So there you go. Yeah, 66 is a tough number, like Dr. Crane said.
Well, don't forget, you can Route 66. So the United States, can be in this conversation.
Oh man, Route 66.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
I'm saying there's got to be some more too as well. Internet's not my friend this morning, so we're having a little argument together.
No one's my friend. It's okay.
Ray Nitschke was 66 for the Green Bay Packers. One of the greatest linemen of all. He was also mean as a snake too. And Joe Jacoby for the Redskins. See, we're in the numbers now where people don't care about these guys when we should, because all we care about are the guys who score the touchdowns. But these are guys, man, that just we should really pay more attention to because they're legends. Yeah, Alan Faneca wore 66. Nitschke, Billy Shaw, who was the only AFL player in the NFL Hall of Fame out of Georgia Tech, played with the Bills. Great lineman is in there as well. So famous number 66, the number that a lot of people don't care about when you should.
Yes, indeed. So you can keep that coming on the text line 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. John McClain going to join us as he always does at 9:30, and also coming up just before that, a little NASCAR flavor. Todd Gilliland, driver of the number 34, is going to join us, and also a little news coming out with NASCAR this morning that they are finalizing a deal with the city of San Diego to have a street race there starting next year.
San Diego. You know what San Diego means?
It means something with a whale.
That's good. Are you a fan of NASCAR street races?
Not really. I think Chicago hadn't been. I mean, it's okay, but it's rained both years, and I don't know. I mean, it was cool here with the IndyCar, but it's such an expensive endeavor, and I don't know. I mean, it's just they keep doing it, so obviously they like something with it, but they want to be back in Southern California. The Auto Club Speedway, which I thought was a great speedway, is now pretty much demolished. The front stretch is all that remains, and supposedly they were going to turn that into a short track. I don't think that's going to happen. They did the Clash at the Coliseum exhibition race, and so now they want to try a street course in San Diego. And look, if you're San Diego, you're all for it because the only thing you got right now are the Padres. So if you can get a bunch of NASCAR fans out to your city and get the world to view things from there, then why not try it?
I don't. I mean, I'm with you. I just like NASCAR. To me, is Talladega, Daytona, the big tracks. That Bristol. To me, that's it. Street racing. I'm good.
I know. I'm kind of the same way, and I think they raced to Mexico City, which we're going to ask Todd about here in a few minutes. They raced to Mexico City last week, which again was kind of cool because there's a part of the track, it's a road course, where they come into a stadium. And so they have the stadium surrounding part of the racetrack, which was pretty cool. But I think the road courses are oversaturated. So I'm just not a fan.
You know what else is oversaturated?
What's that?
Some college football quarterback running his mouth on a podcast and getting a lot of people fired up in June, which I love.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this quite a bit, but Diego Pavia going on a podcast and saying that, what is it, the Dr. Crane, Vanderbilt's going to run this state or something?
Yeah, he wanted Tennessee to be known as Vanderbilt State. Yeah.
All right, here's what I know we're going to play that a little bit later because I want to actually get into this a little bit more, but look, I love it. I love confidence. I love that he's back, and whether he should be or not, that doesn't matter. He's back now, and I hope that Clark Lee and Vanderbilt have another good year. I hope they build off last year. But I'm going to tell you this: I'm a beaten down Vanderbilt fan since birth. I've seen this. Let's chill. a little bit because they got to go earn it. They haven't earned anything. They haven't earned the ability to go trash talk on podcasts and to poke the bear that is Tennessee. Because look, Tennessee may take a step back because of the Nico thing. I don't know. I think we're about to truly see how good of a coach Josh Heupel is, and I think he's a pretty damn good coach. I think Clark Lee's a pretty good coach, but let's just pump the brakes a little bit. That's my thing. I'm all about confidence and what Pavia brings, and he's borderline cocky, and that's okay. But saying that this is Vanderbilt State and all that, like, bro, no, like they haven't done anything in a long time to claim that in football.
Well, I think Tennessee fans are like, who's this guy?
Right.
Who's this guy talking? A few things. I love it. Run your mouth. But when Tennessee plants you on your ass in late November in Neyland Stadium, and they remember this, don't cry dirty hits. Don't cry, oh no, look at that. No, man. Run your mouth. That's fine. Run your mouth. Go on whatever show you want to. Run your mouth. Do all that. That's fine. But no. But here's my thing. You were bad against Tennessee. I mean, you were down the stretch. Pavia, I'm excluding the bowl game because Georgia Tech was not that good. But LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee figured Diego out. He was not good down the stretch. The Vols absolutely figured him out. So I get that. If you come on, you're like, hey, I passed for 230, I ran for 180, and I scored 3 touchdowns, and we lost. But Tennessee punished you that day. You didn't do anything. So keep running your mouth. I'm fine. Guys can run your mouth. But when you're getting hit after the whistle, don't be crying. Don't be crying. You brought this in yourself. But here's the funny thing, Chase. Most of the Tennessee fans I know, they're like, who, San Diego? Who? What do we do? Who's this guy? They don't know who you are. And also in the hierarchy of Tennessee's opponents, is Vanderbilt in the top 5? I don't think Vanderbilt ranks in the top 5 of Tennessee football rivals. I don't.
Well,
I don't think so.
You may be right. I mean, Bama's probably number 1.
Florida is right underneath
Florida's
Bama.
Right there. 3. It depends. A long time it was Auburn. I mean,
Georgia's number 3.
Georgia. And then Auburn maybe still is in there, but probably not.
Yeah. So Vanderbilt.
Kentucky.
They want to be Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
I would make a case for Vandy being at 4.
I'm gonna go 5 at best. Remember for me growing up, Vanderbilt was a victory lap for the Vols for many years.
Well, I mean, it was like that for me too.
I didn't
see Vanderbilt beat Tennessee until 2005.
That's right. It's from 82 to 2005, Vanderbilt, and they had chances along the way to win those games. They did. There's only one coach in Vanderbilt history who's beaten Tennessee, beaten 3 different head football coaches at Tennessee. Do you know that? Only one Vanderbilt coach has beaten 3 different head coaches.
Is that Derek Mason?
That's Derek Mason. Can you name him? Butchie.
Brady Hoke.
Attaboy. One more.
And
bring it home.
Who was the
McDonald's bag, baby?
Oh, Pruitt.
Attaboy. Yeah. So, but again, I mean, Pavia can run I love it. I mean, run your mouth and talk the smack. It's great, man. It's mid-June. We need this, all that. And it's something that we could talk about. I mean, it's fun, right? I get it. But still at the same time, we'll play clips from Pavia in the 10 o'clock hour.
We'll do a deep dive into this a little bit later. Coming up next, though, we'll talk a little racing, get his thoughts on Mexico and potentially San Diego as well. Todd Gilliland, a NASCAR driver, is going to join us here on the program as we're going to be a little all over the place today, but that's how we like it. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. It's the Chase and Big Joe Show, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 the game here on this Wednesday. Of course, join me tonight at 6 for Chasing Checkers, talk about NASCAR and everything going on in the racing world. And as we do that, we'll do that on this show as well. Bringing the driver of the number 34 for Front Row Motorsports, Todd Gilliland, is on the line with us. And Joe, you may remember we talked to Todd last year on the morning of the Daytona 500 when they ran it on Monday. He was nice enough to come on our show. Todd, welcome back.
Yeah, awesome. It's definitely great to talk to you guys again.
Mexico City was kind of a wild ride for you early in that race, but you made it through that wreck. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild ride. I think kind of all weekend we showed really good speed throughout practice, qualifying, and we weren't great when the race started for sure. So we were just kind of hanging around, kind of where we started, for that first stage, and very lucky to have missed that wreck. I don't, sometimes I feel like the driver makes a little bit of difference, but I had no clue what was going on. And I just saw every single person that was around just slide off in front of me. So worked out perfect for us, but I got really lucky there. And same thing kind of carried on. We weren't great the rest of the race, but overall definitely could have been worse if we got caught up in that wreck.
Did you go get a lottery ticket when you got back? I mean, that's how lucky that was for you to get through that.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't get a lottery ticket. I think it could go either way. I hope I didn't use up all my luck for the whole season right there. But hopefully it's like what you're saying, that the luck is just going to continue on. I like that much better.
What was the atmosphere like? I thought it was cool. You guys like running through a stadium essentially is what it was. I mean, it definitely seemed like the fans were into it, but first time with the Cup Series in Mexico City, what was that like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think the excitement level, like you mentioned, is was pretty much like anything I've never seen before. So, we went out to the fan zone. We were getting absolutely mobbed with people, which was a lot of fun. Just to see the excitement, the energy behind it all was great. So, and then the racetrack itself is really nice. We had great accommodations when we were there. We had great food. And like I said, the racetrack raced really well for our Cup Series cars. And the stadium section for sure was, again, like nothing I've ever seen. So, a lot of firsts, and it's still really fun and exciting that, with all the travel, all the different things that it takes to get down there, that NASCAR can still put on our normal great show, right? It seems like any racetrack. So I think that says a lot about, the state of NASCAR right now, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of it.
Todd, you have 6 top 15 runs this year. What's the line between doing really, really well and like finishing 38th? I got to think it's a small one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very small. It's it doesn't take much, especially in the next gen car and the the times that we're in right now in the Cup Series. It's just the margins are razor thin. So you have to have really good pit stops. You have to qualify well to get off to a good start. But there's definitely still cars that drive better than others. So it's still the same old thing of we have to have speed and handling on a race car. But nowadays, I think it just makes all the details so much more important because everyone is so close. So, that comes down to no pit road penalties, gaining spots on pit road if possible. Restarts are extremely important because, 90% of the time, I would say, the restarts are where you're going to get your chunk of spots, whether it's, gaining 5 or losing 5. For the next, I would say those spots come in the first 5 laps after a restart. And then the next 50 laps after that, it might take you to get those spots back. So, it's all in the details now, and it's, all, very, very close to, razor thin margins, I'd say.
I remember one time Darrell Waltrip years ago had said this, and it's been used in other things as well about racing and sports. He's like, I'd rather be lucky than good any day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, I think that goes for any sport. So, a lot of people say you definitely make your own luck, right? You have to be fast. You have to be, execute well, whether it's all the stuff I was just talking about, restarts, pit road, all that stuff. But, with a little bit of luck too, it can definitely go a long way.
So you got a Pocono coming up your next race, and we had Ryan Blaney on a few weeks ago, and we're talking about the racing and everything, new tracks. How do you prepare for Pocono? Do you get in the simulator and Pocono is right there for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would say it's along those same lines of kind of every every week's prep, to be honest. I think, a normal week for me is, kind of going to the simulator on a Thursday afternoon, where we make, 2 hours worth of laps at, kind of different racetracks, but majority of the time is spent on whatever that next week race is. So, tomorrow we'll be going to the simulator and going to Pocono and running a lot of laps, working on our setup, working on myself, so that we're ready to hit the ground running when we get there.
NASCAR driver Todd Gilliland is on with us. Pocono might be, in my opinion, the most unique track on the circuit. Obviously, it's got 3 turns. That's what it's most known for, is the tricky triangle. But each straightaway is different. Each turn is different. I know they're mirrored after other tracks. Is that where it really puts it in the driver's hands, that you got to really know what you're doing around this place?
Yeah, I think it's, I'd say maybe the biggest thing is just as a driver, knowing what you're trying to achieve, because, if you're trying to make it fast in, one corner, maybe there's not as much speed there as other corners. And obviously you want to be as good as you can through every corner, but like you mentioned, they're just so different. So it's definitely a really challenging race weekend on, drivers, teams, engineers, crew chiefs, all that stuff. So I think in the end, you're going to have to, kind of pick and choose what corners are most important to you. I think naturally some cars will be better through certain areas. So take your strengths, kind of, try and pick out your weaknesses. So, I mean, in the long run, it's kind of the same focus as normal, but definitely this weekend is much tougher. Crew chiefs, engineers trying to, dial in the car to being exactly perfect. I just don't think that's going to be, even a thing this weekend, just because the corners are so different.
And then in a couple of weeks, you guys go to the now renamed Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. I'm curious of that, because I when they repaved it and they did the reconfiguration, they kind of set it up like a super speedway, even though it was 1.5 miles. Do you feel like it's going away from that and kind of going back to an intermediate?
I think you can certainly see, the potential for that. I don't think it's there yet. I think there's still a lot of, a lot of downforce to be, built back into the race cars for, the teams. And I think this weekend will certainly be the most, kind of 1.5 mile field that you've seen in a long time at Echo Park Speedway down there. So, just because of the temperature, it's going to be much hotter, obviously at night, so that kind of cancels out a little bit. But when we were there in February, track was extremely cool and made a lot of grip. So I think you could see some more guys sliding around, and it's still a balance of how much grip you want to build into your car versus how much you want to take off for speed and drag down the straightaway. So I think you'll continue to see it be a super speedway for a while, but definitely the pavement's aging, probably quicker than all of us thought. So it could definitely be a place where you're slipping and sliding around before we know it.
Todd, the news is out this morning. It's not official yet, but the rumor is that NASCAR is finalizing a deal with the city of San Diego to do a street course race there in Southern California. And I know Southern California is a big market for the sport. And while it's not official, I mean, how cool would it be to race the streets of San Diego? We've seen it in Chicago with that street race, but how neat would that be?
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I think, the biggest thing is kind of getting back into that, Southern California market, right? We went to Auto Club Speedway for a long time, which was a great racetrack, but it's been shut down. And then, we went to the LA Coliseum for a long time, which was awesome. But then we kind of got a couple of years without going there at all. So I think San Diego would be a great place. Obviously, logistics-wise, NASCAR is getting really good at putting on street races, and I think we can do it pretty flawlessly. So I'm excited about that. And in my opinion, I just at least hope the rumors are true, right? It sounds like fun from my seat.
Yeah, should be fun for sure. Todd, thanks so much for doing this today. Good luck in Pocono. We'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Yes, it was great talking to you guys.
Todd Gilliland, driver of the number 34 Front Row Motorsports Ford. And again, they will be racing at the Pocono Raceway, the Great American Getaway 400 presented by visitpa.com. That's coming up on Sunday. And as always, you can hear that starting at noon here on 102.5 The Game. We shift gears, pun intended, and talk some football with our man John McClain. That is all next on the Chasing Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Wednesday. And now we say hello to John McClain. He's presented by Maple Street Biscuits. Wake up to wow. That's where we were on Friday when we spent a whole hour with Jeff Fisher, John, right after you. And he was very excited to be able to follow you and had some nice things to say. I know you two obviously were very close.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I talked to Jeff was, after the 1993 season, he was coaching with the 49ers, and I was at the Pro Bowl, and their staff was coaching the NFC. And I heard that Buddy Ryan, who had been there 1 year as a defensive coordinator in 93 when the Oilers had the best and nastiest and dirtiest defense in the NFL, and they went 12-4 and lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round, but in Joe Montana's last miracle. But Floyd, I called Floyd and told him I woke him up, told him that I heard he'd given permission for Buddy Ryan to talk to the Cardinals, and he admitted he did. He said, don't attribute it to me. So, and then it dawned on me that the only guy who knew Buddy Ryan's defense in the NFL was right there in the same hotel I was in. So I called Jeff's room, and his wife Julie answered, and I told Julie why I was calling. She said she'd have him call me, and he did. And I remember, I'll never forget, we had a guy for the Houston Post who had covered the 49ers, and so when Jeff called me, I said, well, I have some information that I think you're going to want to know, but I have to make sure that about coming to the Oilers. And I said, but I got to make sure you're not going to tell Richard, I can't remember his last name now. And he said, well, if you and I are going to work together, you'll know that I'm an honest guy. And if I give you my word, it's good. And I said, well, that's good enough for me. I said, Buddy, I believe, is going to the Cardinals, and they're going to call you and offer you a job as defensive coordinator. So they hadn't at that time, but they did, and that was how I met Jeff on the phone and soon met him in person. It turned out to be one of the best moves in franchise history, and it was only Floyd's second year as general manager.
Yeah, and I mean he made the change pretty quick in '94, and as you say, the rest is history. Looking at the current Houston team, NFL.com did a deal of players that they think can bounce back in 2025. Obviously, C.J. Stroud did not have the same year that he had in his rookie year, but I attribute a lot of that to being sacked 52 times. They've completely redone the offensive line. Do you feel like that Stroud is due for a comeback to be one of the better quarterbacks in the AFC?
I see that around the NFL, and people obviously have no clue what they're talking about because they didn't see every team on every play of this team. I attribute everything to the offensive line and other pass protectors. Not only was he sacked the second most, and some of those are not the line, some of them are his fault, but he was pressured more than any quarterback. They had a lineman beaten at the snap, at least one lineman beaten at the snap, could be more than any team in the league. So the pressure he was under, unless you watched every play, you wouldn't know it. And another thing I thought was interesting, I read one of the national things after the season trying to make a case for it not being so much on the line as it was on Stroud because he had X points, say 3.5 seconds to throw. And I'm thinking, geez, you idiot. That's because he was running around like crazy being chased. And but anyway, could he bounce back and be better? You have to get better protection. But you don't want to have an offensive line. They brought in 5. And the crew that they put out on the field during the off-season program, they would have a new left tackle, a new left guard, a new center, a right guard, Titus Howard, who started at left guard last year, but has been a regular right tackle, And their right tackle, Blake Fisher, started, I think, 5 games as a rookie because of injuries. And so I doubt seriously that's going to be the line they put out for their opener at the Rams, just because injuries and because guys are going to do better when they put on pads. I love reading things about like Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., who should be one of the best pass rush duos in the league, how many times they beat the offensive linemen in the OTAs. And I'm like, you can't put on pads. You can't hit anybody. What are you talking about? You know, that is so unfair to the offensive linemen. Now, when they put on the pads, they're going to get beat by those two anyway. But so much is put in to the OTAs by media when you can't put on pads, which is preposterous. But as a long answer, I would think if he is protected better, not so much the sacks, but the constant pressure, yes, he'll have a better season. Last season, there was not the time that he was issued. And I think Chris Sims said on his show with Florio this week that he would, and I disagree with this totally, he wouldn't be surprised to see the Texans in the Super Bowl. And he said because of the issue was not Stroud, and it was the protection, and it was the coaching. And but they still got another first-time play caller, and Nick Gailey, who came from the Rams. He's also first-time coordinator. And their offensive line coach, Cole Popovich, was the backup last year. And for them to elevate him, and they let Gailey wanted that, and they signed off on it. It meant he didn't get a chance to do a lot last year. I thought they'd get rid of him because of guilt by association, but they showed a lot of confidence in him. And everybody's talking about Cayley. I said the most important assistant coach on this team is not Nick Cayley. It's Cole Popovich, because Cayley can call the greatest plays in history. But if you can't block up front, it doesn't matter.
Amen to that. John McClain is on the Chase and Big Joe show today. Speaking of the Houston Texans, John, they upset the apple cart. And you know where I'm going with this. When they gave Jaden Higgins their second-round pick, the guaranteed contract. Now, only 2 of 32 second-round picks are unsigned. All eyes are now on the Seahawks because they're next in the pecking order. But, John, if a team with the 45th or the 48th pick gives a guaranteed contract, these floodgates could open. Is this a concern now, or will it be a concern August 1st?
I think it's a concern August 1st, Joe. And the Texans have another second-round pick, Minnesota offensive tackle Ariante Ursary, who they have high hopes for. And there's talk that he could be a starter, not right off the bat, but take over left tackle over new left tackle Cam Robinson, who's on a 1-year deal. So that's hurt him in negotiations with him. So how does Nick Caserio, his agent says, well, look, you did it with Jaden Higgins. Why won't you do it with my guy? Why did you do it with him? So, yeah, Nick Caserio's got a lot of people angry at him because it's this kind of deal. For players, they make improvements grudgingly and eventually say all the 2s get guaranteed contracts, and then next year is going to be 3s. They won't guarantee contracts. So really, it's collusion, and that's a dirty word in the NFL. For all those second-round picks, none of them get it. Just like Cincinnati. I don't blame Shamar Stewart, the defensive end, for the clause that they did not put in Marion Sims' contract last year. They're trying to stick him with. I don't blame him for saying, I want that same deal, and they won't give it to him. So he just left during the minicamp and went home to College Station. So it usually, if we get to training camp, say get it, is like you said, Joe, August the 1st, if you got all these second rounders out, it's going to be a huge issue.
We'll have more with John McClain coming up next, presented by Maple Street Biscuits. Wake up to wow here on the Chase and Big Joe show, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe on 2.5, 106.3 The Game. John McClain on with us, presented by Maple Street Biscuits. Wake up to wow. Take it,
John, I know we're in the summer season, a lot of stories out there. Do deep dive in the stories. I was reading one about Pete Carroll and the Raiders and how his infectious attitude and positivity has infected that entire organization. What is Pete Carroll, John? You know Pete, you've covered him for a long time. He'll turn 74 in September. Why does this work for him? Why is this guy so beloved, especially by former coaches, players, and staff?
I'll tell you a story that a friend of mine who coached with Bill Parcells at New England and coached with Pete when Pete was the head coach. And he was talking about the difference in those two. His difference is night and day, where Bill was so tough on the players. And he said where Pete was younger, Pete was a player's coach, and the discipline that Parcells had installed would last about a season. And then that discipline was going to go by the wayside. And at some point, Pete Carroll would learn he'd be a player's coach and he'd want to hang out and players and listen to loud music while he's doing game plans and things like that. But if he learned how to still have discipline, it'd help him have a good career. And at that point, the jury was out and he got fired from New England. But obviously he learned because, you know, he went to 2 Super Bowls. He won a national championship at USC. And I think Pete is just a very enthusiastic person. He stays in great shape. He bounces all over the place. He mingles with the players, but yet he's learned through the decades how to be tough, how to lay down the law. And sometimes he puts the boundaries up. And if you cross, and those boundaries give you a lot of latitude. Because you remember the guys he had on the Legion of Boom, you know, he had some characters on there. He had some guys that got in trouble, but they won, and they have great respect for him. And I think he's doing it there. And he is so happy to be a head coach again. You know, they ran him out of Seattle, and he wanted to come back. I didn't know if he'd ever get another job, but I was really happy that he did. In that division, you think of those head coaches in that division, 3 of them destined for the Hall of Fame for sure. I don't know about Jim Harbaugh, but he's got a lot more to do. But that's maybe the most impressive division when it comes to head coaches there's ever been. And Pete Carroll's right in the mix, about to turn 74 and feels like he's 34.
When you talk about
like he's 34.
Look, he's one of the best, I guess, people that I've met, you know, having worked with Floyd. We're sitting there at the combine and Pete comes over and he's messing with me. You know, he's never met me before, just like picking at me. And I'm like, this is Pete Carroll. Like, what are we doing here? And was just one of the nicest people. And you can tell he just loves ball.
He does love ball. And that's a great way to put it. And he's that way 24/7. And I'm glad he's back in the league because he's good for the league. And it'd be getting Pete Carroll and Ashton Jenney, who I think is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, is a great move for them. And obviously he loves Geno Smith because he brought Geno to Seattle. Pete had final say on all personnel there. John Schneider did not. And now John Schneider does. But, and I don't think he has final say in Las Vegas. I'm not sure, but he got the quarterback he wanted. He got the first round pick he wanted. And I think he's proven enough over his career. He's a pretty shrewd personnel guy.
Speaking of some new coaches, I am really curious about Liam Cohen in Jacksonville and how that's going to work out. I mean, I know he's, you know, a pretty good offensive mind and, you know, comes from a lot of the same trees, but, you know, with Trevor Lawrence, how do you think that relationship is going to work? And can he get the full potential out of Lawrence that everybody's been waiting for?
Well, that's something remains to be seen, but considering his track record with quarterbacks, I would say if anybody's going to, it would be him. And Lawrence has not been worth the first overall pick. He's not been a generational quarterback. It doesn't mean he can't be for the next 10 years. And we see that happen. Sometimes they got to change teams before they realize their potential. Look at Baker Mayfield and what he did, including working with Cohen. So I would say the odds are pretty good that we're going to see a better, maybe not as spectacular, but a better Trevor Lawrence this season in the AFC South.
You know, John, we talk about Will Levis here. You know, what's the gauge for him? Does he stay? Does he go? If you're going to trade for a Will Levis, another team, do you do it before camp, middle camp, before the season starts, right before that week? Because I'm trying to remember the last time. I know we went through the Billy Volek, Vince Young mess here in 2006, and they brought in Kerry Collins, and that was just an odd time. But if you're going to go and pull the trigger on a Will Levis, you do it before camp starts, or do you see him go through a couple of joint practices and then say, all right, I want him now?
I think you wait until somebody makes you a decent offer. Now, really, what would you give for Will Levis? A 7, a 6? I think that, and if anybody's going to do it, would it be Liam Cohen?
Yeah.
Because they were together at Kentucky. But I wouldn't give up on Levis yet. I mean, he's not going to be the starter. But what are the odds that Cam Ward's going to start 17 games, a rookie? Not good. And so at some point, they're going to need another quarterback. And Levis, if he played a little bit, like look what happened to Joe Milton last year. I thought the Patriots should have kept him around. And
that might bite
and
them.
If he gets to play a little more, then you might get a better pick. Thought that was a really good deal by the Cowboys. So you never know. You keep him. If he gets an opportunity, maybe he plays well and the price goes up. Because there's no hurry to move it because you're not going to get squat.
Yeah, that's right. And right now the backup quarterback for the Jags is Nick Mullins. And so if you get somebody in there who knows your system that you're comfortable with, we all assume Jacksonville at some point will pull the trigger on Will Levis, just to wait and see. But obviously with the relationship he has with Liam Cohen, that's a nice landing spot. But I'm like you, John. If I know this team's going to release him and I don't have to give anything up, I'm just going to sit back and wait and see what happens.
I think the best thing for them to do, let him play in preseason, see what he does in joint practices, see if he's a different quarterback. And that's not going to be a good measure. The real measure would be if he gets an opportunity to play in a game. Because the way Cam Ward runs and moves as much as he does, and the odds are he's going to get hurt at some point, and you hope he's only misses one game. And if Levis were to go in and play like, say, Milton played, all of a sudden people take notice. This guy's turned the corner, and you can get him for a low pick, which might, instead of be a 7, might be a 5, a conditional 4. You just never know. There's no hurry. If they were not been in a hurry, they would have done it already, and they just sit back, relax, and let it play out.
You know, it's funny, John, you get Titans fans all in rage when you ask them and say, what if when they open that season at Denver, if all things considered equal, if Will Levis is a starting quarterback and Cam Ward's not, and Titans fans lose their mind on that. So we'll see what happens that first game in the Mile High City.
I'd be surprised if Cam Ward is not the starter. Every year he's been from high school and college, he's improved. And you don't get better sitting on the bench. Maybe a first game, something a second, third, but it's only a matter of time. And when you're the first overall pick, the odds are you're going to be starting right away. And they've improved their offensive line. I think Tony Pollard will be better this season than last season. And the key is, as you guys know, who's going to catch the ball. And I think Ward will be such an exciting player. Rookies tend to look down the field, and when they don't see somebody make a play, they run too much. But he's such a good runner, and he's smart. And you take a guy that's improved every single year since he started playing quarterback in high school, the odds are he's going to do a lot of improving while he's playing for the Titans.
John, I'll say this real quick about Levis. Joe and I were at an event last week. It was the Professional Fighters League that they had here. Levis was sitting right in front of us with his family, and they announced him and some other Titans. J.C. Latham was there, a few others, Tony Pollard, and they announced Levis, and there were some boos, and he kind of laughed it off. And anybody that came up to him and asked for a picture, he did it. He shook hands. He played the role of the quarterback. The body language was great. So I'll give him that, I mean, even in this situation, I think he's carried himself well and said the right things. So he at least has that going for him.
Well, he's being evaluated every day by potential suitors.
Sure.
And things, if he carries himself like that everywhere he goes, that gets back to teams, and that's tremendous for him when it comes time to getting a new zip code.
John, thanks so much as always. We'll do it again next week.
Guys, thank you very much. As always, I do appreciate it.
John McClain, presented by Maple Street Biscuits. Wake Up to Wow joins us every Wednesday at 9:30 here on the program. Coming up next, I have a question for you guys, and it's definitely a summer topic, but a good topic, I think, and I want some participation. 615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Who is the next Nashville athlete to get a statue? They're building a new Titan Stadium. Could there be some statues out front? I want to discuss. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Wednesday. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier behind the glass as always. And so far, so good. It's been a fun day so far. Joe, I've had this kind of on the back burner for a while, but I figured it was a good time to bring it up. Statues, because I think statues are an interesting discussion when it comes to sports. And with the Titans building a new stadium, I was having this conversation with someone recently of, do they put any statues out there? Ricky brought up that they should figure out a way to honor the Music City Miracle, on the footprint of the current stadium when they tear it down. How do you do that? But so it got me thinking, because right now, to my knowledge, Pecorine is the only statue in Nashville of a sports figure, unless is there a Wilma Rudolph or anything like that?
There's a Boots Donnelly on MTSU's campus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So for me, I think there's two people. I think there's one that deserves a statue. It's sort of self-serving a little bit, but why not put a statue of Bud Adams outside the new stadium, right? I mean, you own the team. Why not put one of Bud out there? I mean, he's the reason this team is, love him or hate him. They hate him in Houston. We love him here. Why not put Bud Adams' statue outside the new stadium? Why not? And I like the Music City Miracle. I don't know how you do that exactly.
Well, Ricky had a good idea of you put trees up like in the spots. So you put like a tree where Lorenzo was, and then one behind it that's Wycheck, and then another one over where Dyson was when he caught it. Do something like that. And I thought that was kind of different, but kind of cool at the same time.
Aren't they turning that into an entertainment complex?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they would have to. I mean, the cool thing is, like, if you've been to the old Turner Field, next to it in the parking lot is where Fulton County Stadium was. And in the parking lot, they actually had the diamond where all the bases were.
Yeah.
And the wall where Henry Aaron hit 755. But when I started thinking about statues, 615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Everyone's going to say McNair. Okay. That I will give you that, okay. But if we're really being honest about Nashville sports and pro sports and in the short time it's been here, I don't really think anyone deserves a statue.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head, baby. Exactly.
I mean,
you're right.
No disrespect to the Predators or Pecorine. I thought that was a nice gesture. I think it's cool. It's their right to do that. But did he have a statue-worthy career? I would respectfully say no, he didn't. And I think it's up to the organization. It's how beloved as a player by the fan base, and that's ultimately why he got one. I mean, he's the most popular player in the team's history.
Yeah.
You can make an argument for David Poyle being the architect, but he never won a Stanley Cup.
Did not.
So Barry Trotz, as the first head coach. I mean, there's a lot of arguments for it. There's arguments against it. And that's why I think you have to be very careful. And what really got me thinking this was when you and I went to Atlanta, and it hit me that they have 3 Hall of Fame pitchers and a Hall of Fame third baseman from a dynasty team in the 90s that only won 1 World Series, by the way, but one of the best baseball teams ever assembled throughout that time. You know how many of those guys have statues? None of them.
None, right. Yeah.
The Atlanta Braves have 5 statues. Hank Aaron, which no brainer, and then Phil Niekro, who people probably don't even remember. Warren Spahn, who again people probably don't even remember, but was obviously really good. And then Bobby Cox, which he's the manager. He's okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. Chipper doesn't have one. Glavine doesn't have one. Maddox doesn't have one. Smoltz doesn't have one. So that kind of hit me of, man, it's really like you got to be on a really different level to be statue worthy. Now, again, if the Titans put one of McNair and George out front of the new stadium, I'm not going to have a problem with it. And I don't think anybody else will either.
What about, I would be on board with this just to pay homage to who they are and who they were. Frank, Steve, and Eddie.
Yeah. I'd
Have
be
them-
fine. I would have no issue with
It
that.
doesn't have to be a 19-foot statue.
Nope.
It could be very simple. Of those three guys, meant more to this football team in this city than anybody else that's come along. Not one individually, those three. Frank, Eddie, and Steve.
Yeah.
If you did like all Lincoln arms or locked arms, whatever.
Well, there's the famous one of Steve and Eddie hugging. I think it was the AFC Championship game, maybe, or maybe it was after the Miracle. I can't remember, but there's that you could do. But I agree, Frank could definitely be in there.
I think
with
you
what
need
you're talking
something.
about.
I need you got to show the pride. Look, we don't care, and don't hate me. We don't care about Warren Moon. We don't
Right.
care about Earl Campbell. We really don't care about Evan Bethea. They were all Houston guys.
Right.
We care about Frank, Eddie, and Steve. When you talk about Frank, Eddie, Steve, you care about those three. You put them out. I mean, if you want to throw Bruce Matthews up there, he's a Hall of Fame. That's fine.
Sure.
I get all that. But I think you got to have some sort of cosmetic architecture to the new stadium outside and have people walk by like, oh, yeah. Nobody's going to complain, Chase, about a statue of Frank, Eddie, and Steve. Not
Correct.
a soul.
Same reason that nobody complained about a statue of Pecorine. That's what you have to do. If we all agree that there's not really anyone that's earned one, but we want to have something out here to honor the history and all that stuff, no one is going to bat an eye and be mad at all if you have 9, 27, and 89.
Thank you for the Bud Adams double bird pictures that I'm getting sent to me now. About
Now, if they did that, I'd be all for it. But here's the thing. If they just did a regular old statue of Bud Adams, people would be pissed off about it because it's just like, why? I mean, I could make the argument if you're going to go that route and you're going to give a statue of somebody that was integral in bringing the team here, then Phil Bredesen needs to be there too.
Yeah, I see that, but
neither one of those are buzzworthy. Like, you got to do a buzzworthy one. Now, Dylan and Antioch got to my next point. The Derrick Henry stiff arm would be great. Now, when Derrick retires, he's going to Canton. That one probably makes sense. Like, so could Derrick Henry actually be the next one?
Hold on. What if Derrick Henry wins a Super Bowl, goes to Canton as a Raven?
Well, I mean, he's going as both. I mean,
don't you have to declare one or the
no,
other? Oh,
not
you don't
in,
have to?
Not in the NFL.
Okay.
It's a blank jersey, and like both teams are recognized. I mean, you can't erase the 8 years that he spent here in a 2,000-yard season and all that. Yeah, I mean, he might go win a championship in Baltimore, but
Ryan sends a note and says, easy. If Tyler Kolka wins the AF1 championship, go ahead and build it. Quarterback of the Cats. Put it on there to do that. No, I think Bud, Frank, Eddie, Steve, I get that. But in large part, I agree with God, I hate agreeing with you. I don't think there's an athlete that deserves one in Nashville. There's not.
Of pro sport. I mean, if TSU had an Ed Too Tall Jones statue, I don't think anyone would.
I think they got a Ralph Boston statue, don't they, at TSU?
I feel like there are some that maybe there's none on Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt put up one of Tim Corbin when he retired, would anyone have a problem with that? I wouldn't.
No. Tim Corbin would.
Yeah, he would, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like the Boots Donnelly statue in Murfreesboro, I'm totally fine with that.
So well done. It
looks just like him.
He
yells at you when you walk by. It's great.
all the players there on the wall that's etched in. It's really so well done there, and it's not grandiose or anything. It's really nice, but I just I think the new stadium needs something outside to show that. And why not a Bruce? Why not a Frank, Eddie, Steve together? Why not a Bud? I mean, something.
See, the thing about Bruce is, yes, he was here the first 3 years. I still relate him more to Houston than I do here.
He was here 5 years.
Well, 5 years, yeah.
Gotta give it to him. I mean, you need something.
Sure.
Right.
But I mean, McNair, like everyone's saying McNair. Like McNair makes total sense. So yeah, Paul says easily Steve McNair is the only choice for a statue. 2518, Bud Adams or Amy and her dogs.
Oh no. Gosh.
We going Marge shot here? Like, what are we doing? Devin from Dover, the double bird, Bud Adams, but really McNair's the only one. Andrew says a bronze jar of Hellman's mayonnaise.
Oh God, he ain't getting a statue. I'll tell you that.
Nevada Josh is saying, he's saying, isn't there a Steve McNair statue at Nissan? And then AI says, yes, there is a bronze statue of Steve McNair located outside of Nissan Stadium. That is not correct, Josh. There is not. His picture is on the side of the stadium, but there is not a statue.
Yep. Yeah.
2688 says, I would say Derrick Henry is probably a first ballot Hall of Famer and he deserves one. I don't have an issue with that. I think if you made one of, he rushed for 2,000 yards with your team. So that's certainly part of it.
But that's 15, 20 years down the,
yeah.
Frank Eddie Steve is now. I want to see that when the stadium opens. I think it'd be great.
Byron, to me, statues should be always a posthumous thing. It's like that gives you time to sleep on whether or not they deserve one. Could be. Ricky says Mike Keith is getting a statue like Marty did in Cincinnati. Dude, could you imagine?
Had he stayed, he would have gotten one maybe.
Oh, I mean, look, I love Mike Keith, have a lot of respect for Mike Keith. I don't think he deserves a statue, but I mean, I could totally see them doing that. Like have him like call, you put it in a setting where there are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Like that's his most famous call.
Yeah. Is there any, Pekka, yeah, but no, there's no predator to me, even on the distant horizon.
If Shea Weber had stayed, I would say he'd probably get one. If they had won the Stanley Cup, David Poyle would probably have one.
Yeah, I
would
think.
think.
But right now, there's, to me, if Frank Eddie and Steve has together individually, no, together, yes. Other than that, there's not another soul I can think about.
Yeah, if they win the Stanley Cup with Yossi or Forsberg, I could make an argument for it.
But we're talking now.
Yeah, right.
Now.
Like in the distant future, I say no one unless it's Steve.
Yeah, I don't even what in Knoxville. There's Pat Summit. Is that the only one? Is there a Peyton statue up there?
I don't know.
I don't.
Hair Metal Henry said, "Here's the one," and it's Frank, Steve, Eddie, and Bud when they got their Ring of Honor plaques. They're on the field. They're all smiling.
No, I get it, but no. I have them all like linked in jerseys together.
Sure, yeah, they gotta have that. So continue 615-737-1025. Who should be the next Nashville sports figure to get a statue? It can be Titans, it can be Preds, it can be, whatever. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tune in to ESPN 94.9 The Fan tonight as the Nashville Sounds take on the Iowa Cubs. Pregame at 6:20 with Jeff Him and the first pitch at 6:35. You can also listen on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Hey, be listening in the next few minutes. We'll be giving you a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the FIFA Club World Cup match at Geodis Park coming up this Friday. I'll give you the cue to call here in just a few minutes on the Chase and Big Joe show presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. And we're asking this question. The next sport, and what is this song we're listening to?
Statues Without Hearts, Larry Gatlin.
Oh,
How do
well
you,
done.
I mean, did you Google this?
I knew about it.
Statues Without Hearts.
That was
Larry
good.
Gatlin.
That was well done. That is in your bag right there, Doctor.
We call that deep cuts, ladies and gentlemen.
Deep
I
cut
love
for
it.
sure.
Jake Wallman has weighed in. He says General Neyland has a statue just inside Neyland Stadium. They put up a couple more recently of Condridge Holloway, and he thanks Stanley Morgan. But I know the General Neyland statue is outside or right inside Neyland Stadium there in Knoxville.
Does Pat have one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's a
Fulmer.
Fulmer. No, it doesn't have one. I don't know. They named the street after him.
Yeah.
T. Martin Way or Peyton Manning Pass, and then Phil Fulmer Lane up there as well. So, Peyton, can you come in and throw the football down the field? At the same time, I'm going to go and stab Johnny Majors in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Garrison.
615-737-1025. Patrick says, as a Bills fan, we need to honor our old owner, Ralph Wilson. So the Titans should have Bud Adams when the new stadium opens.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. That's a good one. The Bills are getting a brand new stadium too. I mean, why not? Why not be self-serving? You're the reason this team is here. You're the reason the team is in that. You're the reason the team exists at all. Just honor this, put them up. Who cares? You pay for it, put it up.
Joy from Bellevue says Henry when that time comes, but it should be him giving Josh Norman the stiff arm. I mean, if you're going to do it on Derrick Henry, it's got to be a stiff arm. Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Joey in Nashville, the great Skeeter Barnes, number 0. Dr. Crane and I were talking during the break, and I said, what about Tim Dillard with the sounds? He was a legend.
He was a legend. Skeeter Barnes, though, was really, really good. Or
Balboni.
I mean, you got some great
Buck Showalter.
Mattingly or Willie McGee. I mean, you could do stuff like that. But, I mean, does anybody out there know how much does a statue cost? It's not like, Dr. Crane can go to Home Depot and build one by Friday.
I bet he could.
It's very possible.
Hey, of the 3 of us that are most qualified to build a statue, I would say Dr. Crane is at the top of that list.
Could you see me build? I mean, no, I could barely draw stick figures.
Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer's trying to build the grill? And he looks at the picture and then he looks at a pile of that would be our statue.
Or he built the doghouse that time. Then he stepped on the nail and said a cuss word. Yes, all that right there. It can't be cheap, right? Is that marble? What does all go on that statue?
I think it depends on what you use. Like if you were to do a wooden sculpture, you'd have to basically chisel it out of a giant, probably 12-foot tree, a trunk of a tree.
All right, no, let's say the one they use for your Hall of Fame bust. Well, I mean, so make that a statue, bronze. All right, how much does that cost?
Let me look.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Our ombudsman, Dr. Crane's looking it up right now.
2688 says, I see your point of worthy, though. In Detroit, Barry Sanders, Gordy, Stevie Y, Ty Cobb, Isaiah Thomas are people that have statues. There's nobody in Nashville that would be compared to that level. And that's fair.
Yeah, you're right.
Ben says, Tim Corbin is my vote for most likely. Even if it's 5 years from now, I say he will be next.
Yeah, I just put it outside Hawkins Field. It's perfect.
Nevada
a 6
Josh.
Oh, sorry, Chase. Go ahead.
Nevada Josh says you guys need one outside your studio.
Yeah, so the birds can poop on it. Pass. Or Harold Miller Henry can come by and poop on it. Pass.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Crane.
A 6-foot statue for a bronze person, like a full body, is $20,000 to $75,000.
That's actually not that bad.
How much?
$20,000 to $75,000.
That's a wide range. It's like saying, I think he's 5'5" or 7'2". I'm not sure.
Well, listen, if the person is 300 pounds compared to 150 pounds, there's a little bit more.
You make him skinny. You don't have to make a.
I mean, that does sound like it's like, he was kind of a heavy set, skinny person, kind of black, little white, kind of a tall, short guy.
Yeah, we're not sure. Somewhere along those lines.
Blondish, brunette hair.
$20,000 to $75,000. So like a Bud Adams bronze statue would be probably 50. You go in the middle of all that.
And I mean, you're probably paying another 20 grand for the 2 birds. If
Somebody
they
can
did
make
that, like I have criticized the Titans for a lot of things. If they put a statue of Bud throwing the double bird, I would forever just be like, you know what, y'all can do whatever you want. I'll never criticize you again.
I think that would be the greatest statue of all time.
Be so good.
There's not even close. I mean, people would travel far and wide to see that.
Yes, him with that big grin and just the two-handed salute.
I will never, because that was August. That was 2009 November. The Bills were in town, and Goodell was in town also. I'll never forget, because it was on the other side of the field, opposite the Titans bench when he did that. I will never forget that day. I didn't see it happen, but I was at the game, and social media had just started clicking, and then it was on Facebook and took off. That I will never forget that.
Didn't he do it twice?
He got yeah, he did it from the
he did it
box.
from the suite.
Yeah, the suite. Yeah, right.
He did it from the suite. The suite, I think, was the double bird. I could be, or maybe
no, I got the pitch. Somebody sent the picture to us. It's on the field, the double bird on the field.
Okay, so he definitely did it twice. I knew he did one from the suite and one from the field. So,
yes.
Man, that is so funny. Devin and Dixon says the Hawk Tua girl ain't got a statue on Broadway yet.
She got a fake plaque or something.
Did she?
She needs something.
Mm-hmm. She finally spoke out a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, she's supposedly back, and it's been like a year since all that happened now. 1978. That's not nice. I'm not going to read that one. 8586 says Mookie Betts. Could Mookie get one at Overton?
He got a day. I think he actually got key to the city. I think it was like in November. Don't quote me. I think November 12th is Mookie Betts Day.
Maybe.
I have to go back and look.
I mean, look, I mean, as somebody that's from here that has, obviously had a Hall of Fame career, won 3 championships, done a lot for the community. I mean, there's certainly an argument for that.
Right. I mean,
but you'd have to, I mean, somebody would have to pay for it and put it at Overton.
Yeah. That'd be great. Why not? I mean, that guy is a generational baseball player. I mean, he is amazing.
He's first ballot in my mind.
What about The Rock? Put a statue of him in McGavick. I'll pay for that.
Joe, if they're going to put a statue up at McGavick, it's you.
It'll be me, Phil Williams, and Lorianne Crook.
And what about Coach Wells? Where did he not go to McGavick?
He went to McGavick too.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot we could add him in there. Okay.
When he Coach Wells there too. If somebody does what they say they're going to do, they might get a statue at Vanderbilt. But is it all just, chirping right now? We'll hear from what Diego Pavia had to say about Tennessee coming up next. It's Chasing Big Joe on this Wednesday. Caller number 5. I told you to be listening right now. We're going to give you a chance to win these tickets. Caller number 5 will win a pair of or a 4-pack of tickets to the FIFA Club World Cup. Is a Los Angeles Football Club, and say it for me, Dr. Crane. Who are they playing?
I can't pronounce it either.
Esperance. We'll go with that. They are playing at Geodis Park this Friday at 5. You'll win a 4-pack. Caller number 5, 615-737-1025. It's Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game.
since Jack's off the bus.
Yeah.
You guys feel like we want Vandy to be the state squad. Yeah, but you're an intern. You can't,
Yeah.
Don't speak unless spoken to.
You want
man.
Vanderbilt to run Tennessee.
Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year. Like, this is going to be the new staple of like college football is going to happen here at Vanderbilt.
Do any of you and the boys ever like talk about that? Like, we got to be the state school.
Well,
we're in Nashville, Tennessee. We're in the Music City. Like, we need to be the brand of Tennessee.
Everyone wants to come to Tennessee because of Nashville. So they want to come to Nashville. So Vanderbilt. And then when we have like the most money in NIL, like, why not come here? So like we literally just have to win this year and throughout the rest of the year. It'll take care of itself.
That was Diego Pavia on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan. And all right, we talked about this to kind of start the show, Joe. I'm all about confidence. I'm all about feeling good. Vanderbilt had for their standards, a really good year last year. I mean, they had been in a bad spot. They beat Alabama, the biggest win in program history. They had a lot of big wins, went to a bowl game, won the bowl game, but we got to pump the brakes a little bit. All right. Do it again. If you go do it again, then I'm willing to have this conversation, but you got throttled by Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear this. We're going to run Tennessee. I think some of the best things can be, and I'm not reading your text, Phil. I think some of the best are the silent ones. Of like, hey, just go out and do the work.
No, I'm with you. Look, you run your mouth in June. That's fine. Run your mouth in June. You're going to beat Tennessee and all this other good. That's great. I'd rather have him say that than like, we don't have a chance in hell. I don't know why we're going to Knoxville in November. We're not going to do this. But when you get blasted in Gilliland Stadium and they hit you after the whistle, don't cry. You ran your mouth. Don't cry about it. It's going to happen. But also, you look terrible against them. South Carolina figured you out. LSU figured you out. Tennessee figured you out. They have figured you out, Diego Pavia. So what do you do now? I go back to that real quick. Lawrence Taylor's first year in the league, dominated. Coach gets fired. Parcells comes in and says, all right, they know about you now. What are you going to do now? Yep. What are you going to do now to be better? You got to be better. So Pavia's got to be better. Until I see you on the field, that's fine. But in June, you could run your mouth. But again, Tennessee fans that I know are like, who is this guy? What? Who? We'll deal with you at the last game of the season. You're way down our list of football rivalries.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing too is like, I'm a huge Vanderbilt fan, have been since birth. They ain't never run anything in football. Like, let's pump the brakes. I want to see it. I hope he's right. I hope they beat the brakes off Tennessee and everybody else this year. I would love to see them be in the conversation and him be a Heisman contender. Probably not going to happen. So I'm a realist. Let's just wait and see. I mean, I think they're going to. I hope they build off last year, but I'm not going to sit here and say yeah, they're about to run this thing.
I want to know what Clark Lee thought about that. I mean, deep down. Like, he's probably like, all right, I get it. Yeah. Or is he like, look, man, just shut up.
Well, I think that's a really good question. I would love to know that too, because you don't want to stifle confidence as a coach. Like, you want a guy to be confident and feel good about his team and his abilities and all those things. But at the same time, Clark Lee's lived this too. Like, he played there. Yeah. Like, he grew up here. He's seen this too. So it's like, maybe a little humbleness isn't a bad thing. Now, if they beat Tennessee, hey, you talk it all, because at that point you walk the walk, you can talk the talk. So I got no problem with that. But
we're gonna run this. We're gonna run this.
We're gonna run this state.
Yeah, I'm sure people in Morristown and in Jackson, Tennessee, and Chattanooga are like, yeah, I can't wait to be a Vanderbilt fan. That'll be exciting for us. Ain't going to happen. Vanderbilt could beat Tennessee 25 times. It ain't happening. Not going to change the mindset of that. And so now you look forward to this game. You imagine Vanderbilt rolls in there at 3-8 and Pavia, you just give Gilliland some more energy that they don't need right now. But look, again, I don't mind you run your mouth in June. That's fine. Do whatever. Everybody's unbeaten, undefeated right now.
Well, I'll be curious because I'm sure he's one of the players coming to media days. I'll be curious of what he's saying then. And look, again, keep it up. If that's the MO you're going to have, keep it up. But just remember, you got to back it up. And you got an opportunity to look pretty good in the first 5 games for Vanderbilt. Charleston Southern at Virginia Tech. Not going to be easy, but that's a winnable game. At South Carolina is probably your first loss. And then you better beat Georgia State this year because you didn't last year. And then Utah State. And then you got to go to Tuscaloosa. So, then it gets really tough because you're at Tuscaloosa, LSU here, Missouri here, at Texas, and then Auburn comes here on the other end of that. So you got to back it up and get some of those wins, those unexpected wins that you did last year. If you do that, then people are going to have a different conversation about you.
Well, I think it's funny because Vanderbilt fans are like, Tennessee, you better look at us. And Tennessee's like, no, we're not. We're not. We're good right now. We're not worried about you. And then you better look at us. It's like the little chihuahua that's chirping at you when you walk by its house, right? Nothing's going to happen there. But again, go up there and beat them.
That's at 2:00, right?
Yeah, right. Go up there and beat them. Then can you imagine if Vanderbilt wins and does that? Fine. You talk all day long, man. You take off season on and on and on. But again, it's June. You can do whatever you want there, but that's fine. Look, he's brought energy. He's brought excitement back to the program at Vanderbilt. Sure. And that schedule's a lot tougher than it was last year because you got to go on the road. Now you're playing the same teams, but now you got on the road. And then he said Alabama, he expects to beat. He's run his mouth about Alabama too. I was like, yeah, that Alabama game pissed off a lot of Alabama players. So again, but good for Vanderbilt. You beat them. Now you got to go out when you go down there in October. If you're Vanderbilt, do it again. In Alabama, don't let him beat you on your field. Don't let it happen.
You know who I want him worrying about right now? Charleston Southern.
Yep.
Worry about them. And then you know who I want him to worry about? Virginia Tech. And then South Carolina. And then Georgia State. Because let us not forget, they did have a good year last year. You still lost to Georgia State.
That's right.
So let's not forget that. So I just, I want to see him do well. I want to see Vandy do well. I'm fine with some confidence. You want to do a little chirping, that's fine. But you're going to have to back it up. and that's historically has kind of been a little bit of an issue.
Oh, it has been. And also 66 days, baby, for the start of college football. We're counting down with you every day.
I cannot wait. 66 days for sure. You know what else? You know what else I can't wait for?
What's that?
What day is it in Celebrity Birthdays?
The best.
Which is coming up next. We're broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I don't know what this is.
41 years ago today, we had the world premiere of the worst movie of all time starring Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton called Rhinestone. They had the world premiere at the Grand Ole Opry House. It is one of the worst movies of all time. Stallone's trying to be a country singer. It is so awful that it's not even awfully good. Like some movies are so bad you watch them because it was an awful. So do 41 years. We got word that they were having the world premiere at the Opry House. We ran over there. There were no, there's no social media back then. Stallone walked by us. I was like, oh my God, he's so tiny. He's like 5'9". And so for those who remember, 41 years ago today, the world premiere of the movie Rhinestone.
Hey, there's a song by one of your Florida Georgia Line guys called 5'9". So there you go.
It's about Stallone. No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that was a good time back there. So I post all that on my Facebook, and everybody's like, oh, I remember that day. It was crowded over there. Dolly was wonderful. Man, but it was something else.
You're a good time.
I
want you to know that. Also a good time. It is, what day is it in celebrity birthdays? Brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc. Jarrett Fire Division covers all of your business's fire safety needs. Go to jarrettfire.com, above and beyond industry standards.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list, we have Go Fishing Day. You guys like going fishing from time to time?
I haven't been in a long time, but I do enjoy it.
Dude, I went fishing last year off the coast of Marseille. It was great.
Oh, I don't know where that is, but that sounds like a fun time. International Picnic Day is today, so get you
a good picnic.
Yeah, International Panic Day is today, so not a picnic, but
that's
panic.
You when somebody walks in the studio.
Yeah, you got that right. International Sushi Day, good old sushi roll.
Have you tried sushi out of Old Hickory Lake? Fantastic.
I might get a disease. I don't want to do that.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying. National Cheesemakers Day. Hey, shout out to those cheesemakers. National Splurge Day is today. So splurge on money, whatever. I don't know. National Want to Get Away Day is today. So you could splurge on an air flight. I don't know.
It's me.
Oh,
Want to get away.
Okay. You going to do the Want to Get Away thing that Southwest does?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's all we got. So
I love when Dr. Crane panics.
Yes. All right, time for celebrity birthdays. You got to get these within 2 years on either side. Our first birthday. Oh man, the second biggest name ever in music, Paul McCartney.
Oh, that is a good one.
Sir Paul.
Sir Paul. 80.
83.
83 exactly.
Wow.
Sir Paul. Nick, would you still like to be knighted?
Nah, I'm okay. After I heard about the finances of it all, I'm okay.
Yeah. Actress Isabella Rossellini. How old is she today?
What's she been in?
A bunch of movies.
42.
45.
73.
Okay. Yep. Like I said.
Chase, the guy you love a lot, Blake Shelton. How's Blake Shelton today?
52.
58.
49.
That was close.
Not even hit the 50 yet. Let's see who this. Don't know who that is. God, don't know who she is. This is terrible, right? All right. Actress Carol Kane. Was she not in Scrooge with Bill Murray? Was she the girlfriend?
66.
72.
73. Dr. Crane's up 3-0. Actor Brian Benben was in a HBO show which was fantastic called Dream On for many years.
57.
61.
69.
Nice.
Keyboard player Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses.
58.
62.
62 exactly.
Jeez, Dr. Crane.
5-0, Dr. Crane. Singer Nathan Morris of Boys to Men.
56.
58.
54. Chase on the board now. 5-1. Singer-songwriter Ray LaMontagne.
48.
52.
52 exactly. Dr. Crane's up 7-1, rolling on this. The drummer of 21 Pilots, Josh Dunn.
47.
53.
37 he is. Olympic figure skater Kurt Browning.
I have no idea. So 38.
44.
59.
Okay.
Sandy Alomar Jr., the baseball player.
61.
59.
59 exactly. You're up 9-1. We haven't done sports guy. Did you be honest? Did you look?
I did not. I promise.
All right.
I'll send you
Andre's
guys a video of what I did last night.
we're good.
We're okay
Good on
there.
that. I don't want to get arrested. Andre Galarraga, former baseball player, Expos, I think the Rockies.
51.
59.
64. Hall of Famer Bruce Smith from the Bills, played with the Redskins too.
56.
62.
62 exactly.
Good Lord, man.
You're up 11-1. You are one away from setting the all-time record. My good. Former Colts head coach Jeff Saturday.
Play with who do you play with there, Joe?
Oh man. Hey, I said you need to shut your mouth and snap the ball.
55.
47.
50. We got 2 left, Dr. Crane. Hockey player Martin St. Louis.
St. Louis. Marty St. Louis is 51.
53.
50. So it's 11-2. Last birthday. Dr. Crane, you get this on the head. You get you take the record. We have 12. I think Willie got it. Chase got it one time. Antonio Gates, Hall of Fame tight end player for the San Diego Chargers.
49.
52.
Oh, he is 45.
Mm.
Dr. Crane falls, no pun intended, falls short.
But hey,
My statue is going to be cheap.
11. 11's not bad. Congratulations, Dr. Crane.
Thank you.
Oh, well
And
done.
brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc.
As
That'll
we-
do it for us.
Sorry, Chase. Yes, we leave the show every day. The same message we do every day to the time we're done with the show every day to our guys out there. If you are struggling, going through a lot of things, please talk to somebody. I'm telling you, once you open up and talk to somebody about what's going on, your world changes. You'll feel open. You'll feel relieved. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. On your cell phone, you can call or text 988. Somebody's always there to talk to you. We're so grateful for the men who've reached out to us in the last year and a half. Thank you for trusting us. We love you. We're here for you. Remember, more importantly than anything else in this world, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD is coming up next. We're back at it at 9 tomorrow from the Omni Nashville Hotel, 1025, 106.